Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third weekly support group series. So happy to have you with us. Glad you were able to join us tonight. This is going to be a fun time for everybody. So I'm glad you were able to log in tonight. So what we're going to be going over and give you an idea of what tonight's going to look like. I'll run through a few different announcements, go over how this is structured overall, and orient you to the screen. We'll do some introductions, and then I'm going to hand things over to our guest panelist, I guess, if you will, today, or a guest for support group to discuss healthy eating on a budget, and then we'll wrap things up for tonight. So that's what you're looking at for structure. So first off, my name's Colleen Tewksbury. As of right now, I've been your moderator for the first few sessions. We're going to be rotating in a few other moderators as we move forward as well. I'm the Bariatric Program Manager, and I'm really excited that I get to share a little bit of time with you each week through this virtual format. So I appreciate you logging in and joining us tonight. So in terms of announcements, we now have almost all. I think we still have 2 other sessions to post, but overall, almost all of our sessions through the rest of the year are now posted on our website. So if you go to pennmedicine.org/bariatrics, you will see our website there for bariatric surgery, and you'll see a support group tab. You may have gone there before. We now have the upcoming topics are listed out. So our next session is actually going to be next Friday. It'll be a lunchtime session with a fantastic psychologist on our team, and we'll be talking about food policing and how to manage unsolicited food advice. So all of the schedules for the rest of the year are up. You can go onto our website, and if you click on that session, what you will see, you will actually have the option to add to your calendar so that you get reminders for this. There's a button for that, and then there's also a button to be able to forward to friends. We're also putting this on Facebook for a different event so that you can do a one-click join for any of the upcoming sessions. So with that, let's shift back over to structure for how this is all going to go. So what you're looking at right now is the general screen. Let's shift over and I will introduce you to our guest for today. So as I'm doing that, I'm going to actually ask our guest to share their slides to bring up. So today we have with us Shawn Leask. So Shawn is our program coordinator for the Penn Presbyterian location. Shawn is a registered dietitian, and she holds a master's degree in nutrition counseling, or sorry, I wrote this down. She owns a master's degree, sorry, she has a master's degree in community nutrition, and recently completed her training to become a registered yoga teacher. So we're very excited to have her with us tonight and to be able to answer any of the questions that you may have and throw out some different ideas on how to eat healthfully while keeping to your budget. So Shawn, welcome.
Great. Thanks, Colleen. Thanks for the awesome introduction. I'm so excited to be here with everyone tonight. And as Colleen said, my name is Shawn Leask. I'm with the Bariatric program at Presbyterian. For those of you I do not know, it's great to meet you virtually. I'm really excited to be here. When I was thinking about relevant topics for tonight's group, I started to think about all the ways that our lives have changed in the past 7 months or so. And then I thought about, well, how have these changes impacted our food decisions, our food choices? And the same thing that I just kept coming back to is that for one reason or another, we're all doing a lot more grocery shopping and eating at home. So maybe you're someone who's now working from home. You're no longer using your cafe or your cafeteria at work. Maybe you're a college student, or you have a college student in your home who was previously on a meal plan. Now, no more dining hall, eating at home, virtual learning. And lastly, our school-age children. So most school-age children are typically eating lunch, if not both breakfast and lunch at school. So those children are either now hybrid learning or exclusively learning from home. All that to say we're doing a lot more grocery shopping and eating at home. This can be challenging, especially if you're one of the many households who's experienced a decrease in your monthly income over the past 7 months. So tonight, I'm hoping to just bring to you some ideas, some tips for healthy eating while still staying on a reasonable grocery budget. And I'm also going to look to this group for lots of feedback and insight. So as we go through the various topics tonight, I'm going to pause. Colleen's going to help me kind of comb through the questions or the comments and bring some good ideas to the table. Tonight, I'll be talking about ways to save on your protein supplements, your vitamins, also the location. So where you shop absolutely matters as far as what types of deals you're getting and what types of prices you're paying for comparable or the same items. We'll talk about saving on fruits and vegetables, your protein sources, snacks, and then finally at the end, I've got some resources for you or any families that you may know who are struggling with food insecurity at this time. The first thing that I'm going to talk about are our protein supplements and our vitamins. Regardless of where you are in your bariatric journey, you either know about these items or you're currently using them. For those of you who are in your new post-surgery period, you're using a bunch of protein shakes to help meet your nutritional needs. And if you have had surgery already, you know that taking vitamins and your calcium every day is a very important part of your wellness. So my aim is to make sure that you're still using these products as we ask you to, even if your finances have changed recently. So some different ways to save. Definitely keep an eye out for manufacturers' coupons. Coupons for not only shakes, but vitamins are out there. They're in your circulars. They're also online. If you don't have a printer, you can typically just pull them up on your phone and scan them at checkout. Manufacturers are putting coupons out for $2, $4, $6 off. I've seen all of them recently. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. Also, depending on where you're shopping, if you're shopping at a big box store, I know Target's really good for this. They'll have a discount program where you spend a certain amount on your health and wellness, say your vitamins and your calcium, and they'll give you a $5 or $10 gift card. So kind of like a coupon for your next order. Something that I'd also like to point out, if you receive SNAP benefits, which is formerly known as the food stamp program, as long as the product you're purchasing has a nutrition facts label, you can use your SNAP benefits for your protein shakes. If your vitamins or it's a protein powder that has a supplement label, it's unfortunately not covered. But as long as the product you're purchasing has a nutrition facts label, you can use your SNAP benefits for protein shakes. Also, if you happen to find a store brand or a generic that looks comparable to what's in your blue and white Life Gains manual, just check with your bariatric team first. I'll do another plug for my Penn medicine. You can send us pictures. You can also send us screen caps. We'll review it, give you the thumbs up, and it's a great way to save money. Lastly, I'll just touch on Subscribe and Save. Subscribe and Save obviously is a great way to reduce the cost of your monthly supplements, your protein shakes by anywhere from 5 to 15%. It's also a really great way to maintain good social distancing. Running out to the store for vitamins is not ideal, so having them delivered to the home is a much simpler option. Finally, Subscribe and Save works to keep us on track, taking our supplements every single day. Usually we'll take our last vitamin, add it to the list. We might not get to the store until next week. So by subscribing and saving, it can make sure that you always have your products delivered when you're about to run out. Something else that I'll always mention is the importance of calculating cost per serving as opposed to cost for the entire container. So here's an example, buying either liquid protein shakes or powder. If you're home and you're able to take the time to mix up a powdered protein shake, and if you're tolerating them, it's a really great way to save about 70 cents on every single shake you have. Over the course of your 2-week post-surgery full liquid diet, this translates to about $20 in savings. So that $20 you can transfer right over to your vitamin and mineral budget. So that's kind of the first section on protein shakes, vitamins. I'm going to turn it over to the group. I would love to hear about what you've found recently, deals on vitamins, good protein shakes that are at a reasonable cost. So go ahead, as Colleen mentioned, you can use that chat question and answer function and put your comments right there.
Okay, so Shawn, while we are waiting for others to join, I apologize there. I was on, I made the cardinal error of virtual learning. I had myself on mute. So we've been hearing a lot lately that grocery store prices are on the rise and people are comparing between different stores and really spending a lot of time trying to look at who has the best prices. But so do you have any suggestions on how to best approach comparing prices between stores? Is it worth it? Is it not? What are your thoughts?
I think that it is absolutely worth it. And the beauty of the internet and stores having their advertisements online is you can do a lot of the legwork without calling or going from store to store. I think if it's something that you're purchasing on occasion, it's not as big of a deal. But if there are items, your staples that you're buying every single week, definitely do a price comparison store to store. Those are the items that are going to save you a ton, particularly in the category of protein shakes, vitamins, minerals. If you're going to be using these every single day, it's best to shop around, find the store that you know gives you the best deal.
Yeah, and so we have a comment here from Raquel, not as much of a question, but more of a comment that they were able to find Premier Protein at Sam's Club in bulk for cheap, for quite the bargain, $4 off. For I'm assuming it's a 4-pack for those, for $3.42. The sale is back. Oh, they just replied to it that was $13.42. Regardless, they were able to find a bargain on protein shakes. So at a wholesale store. So what are your thoughts? I hear conflicting messages all the time. If you find a sale, should you stock up? What are your thoughts?
I would say stock up with caution. So sometimes we do experience those changes to our taste buds or taste preferences after surgery. So you may want to see where you land, what kinds of things are really working for you after surgery. But most of the products on the shelves, particularly the liquid and powdered protein shakes, have a really long shelf life. So if you find something that's working for you, that's going well, yeah, stock up, why not? Even if you decide you're not going to use it, Premier has a great website. You can always use those shakes for other recipes.
Yeah. So we have a comment here, a question from Ishmael, who is asking, subscribe to who? What's this subscription that you're talking about? Do you mind expanding a little bit more as to what these subscription plans are?
That is a great question, and I'm happy to elaborate. So Subscribe and Save is an option that many online retailers are offering now to help save about 5 to 10 to 15% per month if you automatically sign up for reordering every 30 days, every 60 days. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for your food items, but if it's something that you know, like your vitamins and your calcium that you're taking every day, it's a really great way to make sure that as soon as you're running out, another shipment is coming in. You can subscribe and save at all of the vitamin stores, at Amazon for sure. I think Target and Walmart may also offer this option, but when you're at checkout, you'll see it there, subscribe and save. They'll just ask you to put some information on their account. Yeah. Great question.
So I should add on this, we're not endorsing any specific retailers or products here, but we will use general names just so that we're aware of what people are talking about. I know there's a lot in the comments, but I do want to, just from a caution standpoint, we're not specifically endorsing any specific companies with this, but I'm sure that when we talk about sales, inevitably different companies will come up. So we have here another question, or actually a comment from Andy, that protein bars and shakes, Amazon and some others do offer those subscriptions and for repeat deliveries, and it makes it convenient too. Andy, you're absolutely right. Thank you. And then we also have a question, it's an anonymous one, of what type of vitamins should I be taking before surgery with this then?
So that's a great question, and it's something that I would definitely refer you to your bariatric team for. Depending on a variety of things, we're going to tailor your pre-surgery vitamins to you, and definitely in response to your blood work. So I would definitely direct that question towards your bariatric team, your bariatric dietitian.
Excellent. Okay. All right. We have some back and forth about different options and products and where to get them, which I think is wonderful.
Awesome. Keep sharing, and I am going to go through to our next topic. I'm just going to pull my slides up here. So I also want to talk about location. So the location matters. Definitely try to shop smart. When possible, go for a grocery store over a convenience store or a corner store. The larger the store, generally the better selection that they can offer you at a lower cost. Here is another SNAP-related piece of information. So SNAP, again, that's formerly known as our food stamps program. They recently started an online purchasing program pilot for recipients in Pennsylvania. It used to be that with your SNAP benefits, you could only go to specific stores to use benefits, which has become challenging, especially with trying to practice social distancing. So starting in June, Amazon, Walmart, and specific fresh grocer and ShopRite locations are now allowing individuals to use their SNAP benefits to order online. This really makes it a lot easier if you're someone who takes public transit, maybe you don't have a car or you don't love driving around where you live. This is a great way to get those big box deals and still use your benefits. Also, I have a note on here about delivery fees. So when our budget is reduced, we want to make sure that we're using all of those funds for the food themselves, not spending a ton on fees. If you've previously used any of the meal delivery or meal prep services, those are a great way to add variety to menus, but they can also become pretty costly. So what I'll typically recommend is save all the recipes, either scan them onto your computer, just keep them in a little drawer, and then use those recipes to drive your grocery list. That way you can make the fun, new recipes that you like without the added cost. The last note that I had on here was actually from a patient who wanted me to share this with you tonight. She was trying to support local businesses. She was ordering delivery from one of her favorite small businesses with her family on Fridays. Of course, this small business didn't have their own delivery, so she was paying one of the third-party services $4.99 every Friday. She sat down, calculated it. She realized that she was spending about $260 a year on delivery. So now she just takes the short trip, drives, and she does her contactless pickup. So think about really the extra fees, even small delivery charges can really add up. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is produce. Sometimes produce can become one of the more expensive items on our grocery list, especially if we are purchasing fresh. Try to eat seasonally when possible. Basically, this means purchasing items that are grown locally at the time of eating. The cost will be lower. Also, it reduces the amount of time from picking to eating, so the nutrient content is generally a little bit higher. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware all have produce calendars online. I know sometimes it's easy to forget what's seasonal at any given time. Also for WIC participants, and if you receive any senior nutrition benefits, the Farmers Market Nutrition Program checks do not replace your regular monthly benefits. They actually add to them, so you can get fresh fruits and vegetables at your local farmers markets.
While Shawn is bringing that up, I'm going to call out a few different comments that we have going in here. Jay, that you sound like such a wonderful neighbor to be making healthier meals and sharing them with your neighbors, and especially during COVID, I think any way that you can help bring community back together is lovely. So thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful thing. I hope you keep on doing that, and that your neighbors appreciate you helping support them. That's lovely. And then we also have from Deborah for some of the supplements, had given us a few different in the comments, if you get a chance to look at them, gave us a lot of great ideas. So let's go back over to Shawn here and get her set up. And
hopefully my slides are chugging along for you.
Fruits and vegetables here.
Okay, that sounds good. So definitely also considering when you're purchasing produce, just get what you need for that week. If you're throwing produce away, it's absolutely money wasted. Most produce will freeze as long as it's in an airtight container for about 3 months. And then excess produce, you know, that big bunch of celery in the drawer that might get a little soft soon, throw that into your soups, your stews, your slow cookers. It's a great time of the year for those meals. Also consider frozen produce. Again, really nice addition to things like oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies. And depending on when you're buying it, it may actually have more nutrition than your fresh produce that's purchased off season. Any thoughts or comments on fruits and vegetables, saving money with produce?
Yes, we have some comments in here. Cheryl is reminding us about different options around Fill Abundance. And I'm adding in here, we also have Share and the Food Trust are fantastic resources as well for if you're looking to get fruits and vegetables at low or no cost. Are great options as well. Andy has, when buying, as far as produce, when buying fresh produce in larger quantities, since we all eat less, you can portion pack the extras in snack or portion baggies and freeze them for later use. Shawn, what are your thoughts about that tip from Andy?
I think that sounds great. And in a couple of slides, I may actually have a picture of those portion baggies. So we're on the same page. Okay, I'll keep going, but I'm loving the interaction.
Shawn, I still have you on just the fruits and vegetable slide, so we might.
Are you able? Do you have control of the slides by chance? Are you able to push them? No.
I do not, since they are on your screen, unfortunately. That is okay, though. I mean, we're still going for a discussion on the side here, so.
Yep, let me get this figured out. Okay, just stand by 1 second. My next topic is protein, and I know this group has a ton of information on protein sources, ways to save money.
Now, while you're bringing that up, Shawn, we do have a question from Caitlin. Is there any produce that you remember that's the best, quote, bang for your buck?
So again, I think it really depends on the time of year that you're purchasing it. I know right now, because apples are seasonally available in Pennsylvania, I'm seeing apples for as low as $1.50 a pound, which is a couple bucks less than what you would pay in the winter or the summer. So I think trying to go seasonally is great. Frozen is another really good option for keeping your costs down.
Okay, so while Shawn is doing that, I'm going to keep on talking about what's happening in the chat boxes here, because this is wonderful, you guys. I'm so glad to hear so many different good ideas here. We have a conversation still going about Fill Abundance, and that is wonderful. Some other organizations, if you're looking to donate time as well, there are lots of different food organizations that if you are not, let's say, in a position that you are looking to receive any assistance, there are lots of different ones that you can also give help, like Fill Abundance or Manna. And I think with that process, we actually lost Shawn. So that's okay. So we actually, like I said before, we're learning. Thank you for bearing with us on this. We'll have her join us back in a second. So while we're doing that, if you have any suggestions for how are the ways that you end up saving money around getting your protein foods? Type them into the chat box now. We'll keep on going with this discussion. What suggestions do you have for others or questions for those attendees? So this could be either meat-based or plant-based. Do you have any ideas or different suggestions for others or questions? So I will keep on filtering through those here. Andy, from personal experience, don't overshop and freeze, even with produce, because your tastes and tolerances can change. That is so true, Andy. Excellent point. You never know whether or not it's something you're going to enjoy, or that your pouch or your sleeve is going to be able to tolerate later. So excellent point. Let's keep on talking about protein. So one of the things that we talked about before that's always a great option is buying in bulk when you're able to, but as Andy suggested, don't overbuy when it comes to protein options. Also, certain plant-based proteins can be lower in price than you may think. So we've seen some of like the big box meat substitutes that are available, and some of those can get kind of pricey, right? But getting those foods in their whole form, so like tofu or any sort of edamame, but different types of grain-based proteins, or even beans, right? Those can be a little bit higher in protein. All fantastic options, and relatively inexpensive to purchase. You just have to learn how to prepare them well. So if anyone has any suggestions on great preparation, that'd be great to add in as well. So from Jay here, we have a protein at grocery outlets. She gets her own but they get their own plant-based shakes, and Premier gave up Boost. So there are lots of different options for plant-based options as well for protein foods. In terms of meat or fish, portioning them out is another great option for different protein items. Scouring those sales, again, it's similar practice from that standpoint, seeing what you can purchase on the lower end of the price range. It also depends on what cut of meat you end up getting if you're going for the meat route. So that would be any sort of, when it comes to chicken, the darker meats of wings or thighs tend to be cheaper than chicken breasts, and same or similar protein content overall. You may need to prepare it a little bit differently so that it's still tender. It may be a little bit more of a higher fat cut as well. So just watching out for that and making sure that you're trimming off what you can. So those are great options too. When it comes to different beef cuts, the loins, you typically want to go with the lean pieces, so like sirloins, any sort of roast or round eye roast, chuck roasts. Those cuts tend to be more economical and also high in protein, and just have to cook them a little bit differently. So low and slow is key. So Ishmael here asked if there's a protein source that has been the most digestible for post-op. Excellent question. So after surgery, your stomach needs a lot of stomach acid and churning to be able to break up red meats, particularly beef. So many people say like beef just doesn't sit well for me. Others say I can handle it without a problem. So the more tender the cut, or if it's ground beef, something like that, typically the easier it is for your stomach to be able to handle it, but everyone's different. In terms of what's the best protein content per se, most animal-based sources are complete proteins. It's really personal preference. All right, so let's see. Cheryl, I never realized until surgery that grains can have protein. Who knew? You are correct. And I love the smile in there, Cheryl, for your comment. Unfortunately, there's no emojis in this Q&A, so any emojis that you want to type in would be great. But trying out a variety of grains and beans and different flours from grains, from flours from nuts, fantastic, love it. Those are great options. All right,
Colleen,
so Shawn, back with us.
Yes. Group, I cannot explain these technical difficulties, but I'm back. And I'm ready to restart. Colleen, thank you so much.
Let's
We're
break it
kind of
up.
learning as we go here.
We were just talking about meat, so it's fine. Oh,
Great.
Jay's talking about a good old London broil. Love it. At some markets, if you pick up a London broil, the butcher there is almost always willing to cut it up into smaller pieces and rewrap it. Good to know. Make friends with your butcher. Thanks, Jay.
That is a great tip. It sounds like already the group has discussed a lot of meat-free protein sources. Many of these are listed in your book. Some of my personal favorites, lentils, beans, also eggs are a really great source of protein, low cost. So it sounds like we talked about this already. Also, just the benefits of buying in bulk and freezing to save. Snacks. So here are those portion controlled snack bags that I'm pretty sure a couple people in the chat function mentioned. Be careful with the individually or snack packed foods. We're often paying a lot more per serving than if you make your own. So here we've got half a cup of fruit, a quarter cup of nuts. Gone are the days where we have to weigh our portions or count almonds. No one has time for that. Just use these handy bags. These bags are also really good to have on hand in the household for when your kids want a little snack. If your family is not big on leftovers, maybe they're like, oh, this again, we just had it last night. Use your leftovers in smaller portions as snacks. It's a great way to use up, avoid food waste, and also have a snack that's pretty high in nutrition. I'm curious to know from the group about some snacks that you find meet your nutritional goals, but also taste great.
All right. So if you want to type those into the Q&A.
Also, something that I know individuals are usually looking for help on is non-perishable or shelf-stable snacks. So something that you can carry with, and then if you don't need it, it's okay. It's not going to go bad. We touched a little bit on protein bars. We have some nuts here, but anything else, I'd love to hear from this group. I know you guys are experts at this.
Deborah did share with us a deal she found on Viactive calcium chews, which is great to know. And Jen went back to the supplements as well and had mentioned that many programs, bariatric programs do have, or bariatric supplement companies do have what they call ambassador programs. Let's see, does anyone else have any comments about protein, or is everyone a pro with protein from working with your dietitian so much?
Well, I only have a couple more topics to talk about. Oh, and one other thing, this was actually something that I took from the MyPlate website, just remembering to check out the price per unit, whether it's ounce or price per pound in the grocery store. Sometimes it's in pink on the label, sometimes it's orange. But this really helps us to compare and know which product is actually a better deal. If we looked at these two options here, the bigger yogurt costs more, but when you break it down, what are we really getting? The price per ounce, it's a better deal to get the top product as opposed to the bottom. So just a trick. I'm sure that some of you are used to looking at that already in the grocery stores, but it's something that I like to do, especially with yogurts, any kind of dairy. Just helps to compare apples to apples.
Shawn, we have a protein suggestion again from Jay. I love all these comments. Thank you, Jay. You can make muffins with a scoop or two of protein powder and then make them into mini muffins, since the full-size muffins can be high in calories. They're better and cheaper than the little Edamons, which we won't endorse any products here, but the little muffin bites that you end up getting from a popular bakery company.
That's an awesome tip. Sounds really good. Sounds like a great way to save on cash and not compromise nutrition, which is our ultimate goal. I promised at the end that I would give you some more specific resources. So this is a website here that I found. It's through Cigna, but it has absolutely nothing to do with them as an insurance company. It's really a key benefit screening tool. You'll enter in some information about where you live, your average income, your household size, and your monthly expenses. And they will give you a whole list of not only nutrition assistance programs, but assistance with utilities, with health insurance. I put in kind of a test patient and I got 6 different programs that my test patient would be eligible for. I thought this program was great because it connected you with either the websites or the telephone numbers to call these programs and actually see if you're eligible. Definitely worth a shot. Also, I just have a long list here, but this just demonstrates how broad and widely available food banks are. With food banks, there's not typically a very big process for accessing their services. It's really for the community and for those in need. So I'm so sorry for my technical difficulties, but I'm glad I finished and got back to you guys. I'm loving all the discussion. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, especially as we begin to pick more bariatric support group topics. If there's something that you'd like to see myself or one of the other team members cover, definitely throw it in the chat. We're always looking for new ideas. And I'm curious to hear about any other thoughts or recommendations that the group might have for healthy eating on a budget.
Yeah, so Andy here made a comment that I've already responded to, but I'm going to give you a chance to elaborate on. Andy had said, I know the dietitians may disagree, but in my little circle of post-surgery patients, we all love Smart Pop popcorn as a salty snack that's filling and tasty and relatively healthy as a quote-unquote bad snack. And my response was in all caps, because I mean this emphatically, there's no such thing as a bad snack. There are salty snacks, there are low-calorie snacks, there are all different types, but no such thing as a good or bad snack. Shawn, do you want to talk a little bit more about morals and categorizing foods?
Yes, so remember, detach all of those weird, funny feelings from foods. There are no good foods or bad foods. And so to take the example of popcorn, hey, it's a great crunchy snack. There's some fiber in it. We enjoy it. And if it's something that kind of fits in your meal plan and you enjoy it, that's great. We, as your bariatric team, can give you kind of the roadmap, just the basics, but it's up to you to really find your way and what works for you personally. So I would encourage you to kind of be a little more flexible with maybe some old school food rules that you might have, and just think outside the box. I mean, no one knows you like you, and so no one knows what will work for your nutrition plan better than yourself.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so we're starting to wrap things up for right now. Shawn, that's a wonderful way of wrapping up for tonight. So do you have any final words before we go into the closing part of the session?
Well, I mean, again, I'll apologize for my technical difficulty, but I want to thank this group for allowing me to be a part of your evening tonight. I really enjoyed myself. I can't wait to read through more of the comments and get some good ideas. And what I would say too is if you are struggling with any kind of food insecurity, it's worth mentioning to us. We're definitely, as your bariatric team, your bariatric dietitian, more than willing to kind of help you brainstorm on ways to still maintain your food and nutrition goals on a reduced budget. So once again, thanks everyone. Thanks for spending your night with us.
Excellent. Thank you, Shawn. So I will reiterate 2 different items to leave you with tonight. Please, anything that comes up, if you need additional support, please reach out to us from whether it be food insecurity, additional nutrition questions, anything along those lines. That is what we are here for. So as a part of that, let me bring up the office's phone number for you here so that you have that. Please call us if you need us. I like to say, don't guess, don't Google, pick up the phone. That's what we're here for. So it's 215-615-7500, but for those, for any additional questions, I will add as a part of that, for depending on the state that you live in, there are different resources that are available during this time for food insecurity. The statistics around how many individuals, unfortunately, are struggling to make sure that they're maintaining good nutrition during this time and unlimited funds is sobering and pretty worrisome from a dietitian standpoint. So we're here to help connect you with any additional resources that you may need during this time. So please do not hesitate to reach out. We heard about a few of them in the Philly area tonight. as well from the chat, and glad to hear that some of you do volunteer for those organizations. I'll also say thanks, Deborah. Yes, we are all here to help destigmatize any sort of food or different behaviors, right? What you eat doesn't define whether or not you're a good or bad person, right? It's just food. So we're here to help you be able to decide what are your best goals, what are the goals for you, and what's the best way of achieving those. No judgment attached. So we appreciate you having you here. If you have any additional topics that you want to see moving forward, please type them into the chat. We love to see it. We're going to be doing a few different Q&As coming up. So next week, as a reminder, we're doing a lunchtime session next Friday, and that will be on food policing. How do you manage unsolicited advice around your eating from other people? So that'll be a fun time for everyone. So again, I want to reiterate what Shawn had said here and also thank her. So thank you, Shawn, for joining us. And like she had said, we appreciate you coming here tonight and joining us. These sessions are really your time to be able to get little snippets of information each week and some additional support. And I know that many people are struggling during this time and are really strapped for time and attention. So we are very thankful that you made the choice to give us your attention tonight. So I'm very grateful for that. I hope that someday in the near future we can start doing in-person again when it's safe. But to get to that point, I am also a public health professional. I will take this opportunity every single week to remind you that the only way that we are going to be able to move forward, continue to mask up, wash your hands, keep your distance, keep yourself and those around you safe. And until next week, thank you for joining us and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.